The UFC, the world leader in MMA. Experience it on Fox Sports 2.
The Octagon has returned to Georgia, Duluth to be exact, about a half hour away from downtown Atlanta for the first fight night on Fox Sports 1 in 2014. Former Strikeforce 185-pound champion Luke Rockhold comes to the Peach State in search of his first UFC victory. The well-rounded and athletic California surfer has a stiff test in front of him as he meets Costas Philippou in tomorrow's main event. Undefeated as a professional boxer before making his MMA debut in 2008, Costas Philippou is now ranked amongst the top 10 middleweights in the world with an opportunity to shine in his first headlining appearance inside the Octagon. They'll come to blows tomorrow, but today they make it official on the scale. The UFC weigh-in starts right now. Center here in Duluth. It's time to get things started on Fox Sports 2. Hello everybody, I'm Karen Bryant here alongside retired UFC star Brian Stann and current UFC lightweight ranked number 2 in the world, the great Gilbert Melendez. And Gilbert, it's nice to have you here for the first time on the desk. You had an amazing fight with Diego Sanchez at UFC 166, but when are we going to see you fight again?
Well, it's great to be here. My next fight, yet to be determined, but I do plan on fighting sometime mid this year.
Against?
Well, the fans want to see me and Khabib throw down. We need to figure out how to make the fans happy. All
right, Melendez Nurmagomedov, that could be great. And Brian, I feel like on this fight card, we're seeing the next wave of great fighters right here in your backyard.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're 30 minutes from downtown, but most importantly, we're 10 minutes from my front door. I love it. Everybody's excited about a killer card. Could be definitely some future championship contenders on this card. And I'll tell you what, Christmas time, it was like I was Santa Claus giving away tickets. It was fantastic.
You're a good friend, Brian. All right, well, let's talk about this main card. The main event features a great clash of top 10 middleweights, and Gilbert, Luke Rockhold trains at one of the best camps in the country, not too far away from where you train. We know you're very familiar with this fight.
Yeah, indeed. This guy was a born athlete. Not only a born athlete, he's a born fighter. Training in the judo, the taekwondo. The guy has great reach, knows how to use his kicks very well. But you know what? I like his submission game. He had 5 submissions in the Strikeforce, and I'm eager for him to take Costas down and show some of his grappling out here.
Well, and you know, when you talk about Costas, this is the guy, he comes from a boxing background. He's got huge, powerful punches. It's what he loves to do. But he has also shown us that he is adept at takedown defense and shown a pretty good top game with some good ground and pound. He's not afraid where this fight goes. He's openly said that. I'm not afraid of Luke's ground game, but if he chooses to mix it up, I'm happy to do so.
And guys, the middleweight division, arguably the most competitive. We've been having this talk off camera, but my goodness, every win matters. Well, it is an exciting matchup scheduled for 5 rounds, but when you factor in both men's fighting styles and a combined 15 finishes between them, it doesn't seem very likely that this one's going to reach the final horn. Right now, it's time to check in with our on-site correspondent, Heidi Androl, for more on the main event. Heidi?
Thank you very much, Karen. Well, Luke Rockhold enters the Octagon for the first time in 9 months after losing his UFC debut down in Brazil by way of knockout to Vitor Belfort. He admits in that one his emotions got the better of him and he didn't stick to the game plan. He claims that that will not be the case here in Georgia against Costas Philippou. Now, as far as advantage, well, Luke Rockhold says he has the advantage. He has the experience in big 5-round fights. He doesn't feel, though, that this will go 5 rounds. He thinks that he will just be too much for Philippou. As for Costas Philippou, well, he says, you know what, Luke Rockhold does have the advantage as far as experience goes, but it's just to fight a little bit longer. He said he has added some cardio, he's worked out longer, and those are really the adjustments he's made for the 5 rounds. He said if it goes 5, he'll be ready. Karen?
Thanks very much, Heidi. When we come back, it will be time to hit the scale as Luke Rockhold, Costas Philippou, Lorenz Larkin, Brad Tavares, and the rest of the Fight Night competitors make things official. Then straight ahead when the UFC weigh-in returns on Fox Sports 2.
UFC Fight Night on Fox Sports 1. In the main event, two ferocious top 10 strikers collide head-on as Luke Rockhold battles Philippou. Plus, submission specialist Cole Miller is out to neutralize the explosive punching power of San Cecilia. And TJ Dillashaw clashes with Mike the Hulk Easton. UFC Fight Night, Wednesday on Fox Sports 1.
UFC fans, we'd like to welcome you to today's official weigh-in for UFC Fight Night Rockhold versus Philippou. Tomorrow night, live here from the arena at Gwinnett Center in Duluth, Georgia, former Strikeforce champion Luke Rockhold seeks his first UFC win as he takes on fellow middleweight contender Costas Philippou. In our co-main event, also in the middleweight division, it'll be a matchup of rising stars Lorenz Larkin and Brad Tavares. Plus, we've got a feature bout in the bantamweight division as TJ Dillashaw takes on Mike Easton. We'd like to thank our sponsors. Bud Light, here we go.
Welcome back, everybody. It is time to send it to the stage where Jon Anik gets the weigh-in started. Take it away, Jon Anik.
What's up, Atlanta? Thank you all for coming out. How about a warm welcome? Our Octagon girls, Chrissy Blair and Vanessa Hansen. UFC President Dana White is in the building. The best matchmaker in the world, Joe Silva, is here as well. And the one and only Burt Watson bringing up the rear. Let's get going. We begin with the prelims on UFC Fight Pass. First up in the lightweight division, Charlie the Spaniard Brenneman versus Beneil Dariush.
Sunday is the NFC Championship as the 49ers take on the Seahawks for a trip to Super Bowl 48. Our coverage of the NFC Championship begins Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern, only on Fox.
For Beneil Dariush. And his opponent making his return to the UFC, Charlie Brenneman.
Charlie Brenneman was a welterweight who was cut from the UFC, but now he's back at the 155-pound division. He's had 4 straight victories with 3 finishes, 1 unanimous decision. The Spaniard is back and he's ready to entertain.
Good job, man. 155 for Charlie Brenneman. All right, our next fight also in the lightweight division. Vince from Hell Pichel versus Garrett Goodnight Whiteley.
Garrett Whiteley, an Iraq war veteran, actually started training mixed martial arts to help him deal with his post-traumatic stress from the war. Not only does he now find himself in the UFC, but he also finds himself training under UFC great Chris Lights Out Lytle.
UFC. And his opponent, Vince Pichel.
2013 has been a very frustrating year for Vince Pichel. He had to basically have reconstructive surgery on his bicep. He credits the little baby steps, seeing progress, and his girlfriend to his battle back.
$155 for Vince Pichel. All right, now we get to the UFC Fight Night prelims on Fox Sports 1. First up, in the flyweight division, Altekin, the Turkish Delight Ozkilic versus Louis Smolka.
Louis the Last Samurai Smolka makes his UFC debut by way of Honolulu, Hawaii. The 22-year-old flyweight is amongst the tallest in the division, standing at 5'9" tall, and in fact he is the only flyweight on the UFC roster who's undefeated.
$125 for Louis Smolka. And his opponent, Altekin Ozkilic.
Thursday, Fox College Hoops returns as Arizona State looks to knock off #1 ranked Arizona. Coverage begins at 9 p.m. Eastern only on Fox Sports 1.
$125 for Altekin Ozkilic. All right, our next fight is in the middleweight division. Trevor Hot Sauce Smith versus Brian B.U. Houston.
Brian Houston had aspirations to be an NFL pro football player till he was sidelined with an injury. He dabbled in the minor leagues for a bit. Then he met Vanderlei Silva, and now he's searching for his first UFC victory.
$185 for Brian Houston. And his opponent, Trevor Smith.
Trevor Smith starts his day with a morning meditation and ends his day teaching kids MMA. In fact, he even takes his 6-year-old son to the gym, teaching him the techniques that his coaches taught him. He said the best way to learn is to teach.
186. 186 for Trevor Smith. All right, our next bout is in the lightweight division. Isaac Valley Flag versus Elias Silverio.
Fox Sports coverage of UFC Fight Night begins tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern with the UFC Fight Night pre-fight on Fox Sports 1. Then the fights start at 5 p.m. Eastern with the prelims, followed by the main card at 7 only on Fox Sports 1.
$155 for Elias Silverio. And his opponent, Isaac Valley Flag.
Isaac Valley Flag, a man I trained with for years in New Mexico, has not lost since July of 2007. He's gone 11-0 and 1 draw during that time period. He looks to pick up another victory tomorrow night.
$155 for Isaac Valley Flag. All right, next up we stay in the lightweight division. Ramsey Mitchum versus Justin Fast Eddie Edwards.
Justin Edwards dropping to lightweight. The last time he weighed 155 pounds was 1999. He was a sophomore in high school. Now in college he actually played football, was a linebacker, and if you can believe it, weighed 225 pounds. He did a test cut. He said that is what has made him confident for this weigh-in.
$155 for Justin Edwards. And his opponent, Ramsey Mitchum.
Ramsey has moved his camp from Utah to the Bay Area, training with my close friend Tariq Azim and Jake Shields. I had the pleasure of sparring Ramsey for his last sparring session. The guy is ready for a 15-minute battle.
$155 for Ramsey Mitchum.
Now we reset things for a moment. Karen Brian Stan and Gilbert Melendez here as we've reached the first two fighters to square off on tomorrow's main card, a featherweight bout between Cole Miller and Sam Sicilia. First up to the scale, the hard-hitting Sam Sicilia. This is going to be a great fight, guys. Sam's got a lot of power.
Well, you know, the interesting thing about Sam Sicilia is despite his opponent's 15 fights in the UFC, he said none of it matters. I don't respect it that much. Cole Miller's been in the UFC this long and hasn't made a run at anything. A lot of disrespect by Sam Sicilia. We'll see if it plays out for him tomorrow night.
On a side note, Sam Sicilia prefers Bane to Batman. Says he likes to root for him in that movie. Not necessarily the bad guy always, but...
145 for Sam Sicilia. And his opponent proudly represented making
Cole Miller coming in with a 10-inch reach advantage. That's a big reach advantage if you ask me. He's also a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've had the opportunity to train with Cole Miller. His long, lanky limbs allows him to lock in big submissions like the arm bar, the triangle, taking the back. Look for him to get some submissions and shoot for the submissions in this fight.
Absolutely huge for 145 pounds. He's over 6 feet tall, very long for the weight class.
145 for Cole Miller. All right, moving on now to the flyweight division. John Moraga versus Dustin Ortiz.
Dustin Ortiz describes his UFC debut as an out-of-body experience. He said it was like looking down on himself in the octagon in Goiânia, Brazil in November. He attributes his success to surrounding himself with guys who've been here before, like his coach, Duke Rufus.
Interesting, John Moraga's last fight was a 5-round title loss to champion Demetrius Johnson. He said he learned so much from that fight. One of the things is he doesn't care about his opponent, Dustin Ortiz. He's worried about himself. Moraga said he's gotten better and much stronger during the course of this training camp.
Moraga is just such a good boxer. He's a wrestler first, but he loves to box. He has heavy hands, likes to fight in the pocket. He likes to throw the chingazos, is what he says.
Big killer instinct on Moraga, too. When he smells blood, he's good. He's very violent for the finish.
126. 126 for John Moraga.
Derek Brunson has found success in his short UFC stint. Now, he did train previously at Jackson's MMA in Albuquerque, New Mexico, but for this one, he stayed at home in Wilmington, North Carolina, so he could spend the holidays with his girls. We'll see if the home cooking pays off on the scale and in the octagon tomorrow.
You know, it's an interesting decision to stay in Wrightsville Beach to prep for this fight. There's not too many guys to train with that can simulate Yoel Romero. He also takes more selfies than I think any other professional athlete.
185 for Derek Brunson.
You saw his Twitter handle. If you take a look at that wall, you'll see nothing but shirtless selfies for Derek Brunson.
Yoel Romero, 2000 freestyle silver medalist. Not only is he an athlete, athleticism runs in the family. His brother is an IBF cruiserweight champion in boxing.
You know, interesting, he's also one of the only guys to defeat Cael Sanderson, American wrestling legend, and he beat him on 3 occasions. This guy was considered one of the scariest guys in amateur wrestling before he came to fighting.
Quite an accomplishment to beat Cael Sanderson, one of the best ever in U.S. wrestling.
185 for Yoel Romero.
Holt Easton. Started training at 17 years old with the goal to become a UFC fighter. Now 10 days away from being 30 years old, he is a UFC fighter. Has a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, black belt in Taekwondo, and a black belt in Taijitsu.
I'll tell you what, he's also our coordinating producer, Steve Becker's favorite fighter in the UFC right here.
For Mike Easton. And his opponent, TJ Dillashaw.
In the build-up to this fight, TJ Dillashaw said a few things that struck my attention. One, that he needs to use his wrestling more to win rounds more decisively. And two, that he didn't think Mike Easton was that good, that he feels he's easy to figure out, does the same thing every fight. Tough words for a guy in your opponent being ranked number 7 in the world. We'll see tomorrow night.
Apparently those things work, though, don't they, Brian? Of course, TJ from Team Alpha Male. His opponent from Team Alliance. Both great camps.
135 for TJ Dillashaw.
Well, interesting you said it. Great camps, but bitter rivals as well with the Uriah Faber versus Dominic Cruz history.
Moving on now to our co-main event in the middleweight division. Lorenz the Monsoon Larkin versus Brad Tavares.
Well, Brad Tavares said that despite so many UFC fighters leaving Las Vegas and training elsewhere, he's decided to stay home and he feels very good about his camp. Sometimes that could be a tremendous advantage. He trains at Robert Drysdale and also in Extreme Couture. Now with that many fighters gone, he gets a lot more attention and focus from his coaches. We'll see if it pans out for him tomorrow night.
Speaking of coaches, the kickboxing legend Ray Sefo right there in the red jacket, one of his main coaches. Great fighter.
And an incredible job he's done. Every time Brad Tavares comes, we see more and more improvement in this fighter, specifically in the striking.
185. 185 for Brad Tavares. And his opponent, Lorenz Larkin.
Lorenz Larkin fighting out of Riverside, California. Only 27 years old, young in the fight game, a very creative fighter. Look for him to do spinning back kicks, elbows, a very exciting fighter. It's going to be a great fight.
Interesting in this fight too, Lorenz Larkin, he's known to be small for the weight class. However, he is extremely fast, like you mentioned, very quick, where Tavares, the guy we know who cuts a decent amount of weight, could be bigger. We'll see how that plays out.
185 for Lorenz Larkin.
And folks, Lorenz Larkin is currently ranked number 13 in the division. Let me remind you, this man has beaten Robbie Lawler, who is fighting for the title.
All right, now it's time to take a closer look at the two men involved in tomorrow night's 5-round middleweight main event.
I know where I stand. I am one of the most dangerous men in this division.
Luke Rockhold thinks he is better everywhere, has evolved constantly in his MMA career.
So it makes him one of the best middleweights in the world.
I have all the tools to beat anybody. I'm one of the most well-rounded guys. I'm taller, my wrestling's better, my jiu-jitsu is better, and my kickboxing's better. And I don't lack any heart and determination, I guarantee that.
Rockhold is just on it. Rockhold putting on a show here now. Man, oh, beautiful kick. Rockhold teeing up. Oh, the fight is stopped.
I think with Luke Rockhold, he's dangerous everywhere. But I'm up to the challenge, and I'm stronger. I'm faster. My technique is better. And I want it more.
Trying to finish it here.
You want to talk about leaving it all in the octagon.
Back to Philippou with a big victory.
Costa's a great boxer, and he's got skills everywhere. But I'm going to beat him up.
Rockhold pounces on Kennedy.
And I'm not going to stop until the ref pulls me off.
Oh, Jardine got tagged. Down he goes. When's the referee going to step in? He does it. The first round TKO.
he's in big trouble in this fight. I plan on finishing him early, and him raising my hand and giving me a knockout of the night bonus.
That's not a game plan. That's a wish. Okay, I can't predict the future, but I know I can knock out everybody.
He got tagged. He went counter. Oh, he got hit. Oh, he's going bad. And again. Oh, that's it. It's all over. What power that guy has in his hands.
I'm going to go in, guns blazing, and it's going to be a battle.
You know, I've never been the guy to shy away from a fight myself. I'm going to beat his. It's going to be fireworks, I guarantee.
Wow, this is amazing. Man, they're firing away. Oh, my God. Oh, he hurt him. Beautiful knockout.
First fighter to the scale, one of the top 10 middleweights in the world, Costas Philippou.
Interesting to see Costas Philippou. This is going to be his second fight in his new training camp, having left longtime renowned coach Ray Longo and Matt Serra for a lesser-known camp, but will it diversify his skill set against a very diversified fighter, an unpredictable guy like Luke Rockhold? You can see here from Costas, you see the build, big, strong guy. What he gives up, though, is a lot of reach and height in this fight. Rockhold coming in at 6'4". Costas
185 for Costas Philippou.
Costas about 5'9", 5'10".
And his opponent is the former Strikeforce middleweight champion, Luke Rockhold.
Luke Rockhold, a big 185-pounder, standing 6'3", 6'3" tall, does paddleboarding and surfing as cross-training. His last few victories before losing to Vitor Belfort were against Tim Kennedy, Jardine, and Jacare.
Thank you all so much for coming out. We'll see you right back here in the arena for the fights tomorrow night.
All right, thank you very much, John Anik. A relatively friendly stare down there, guys, but let's talk about the main event. And I'm curious what your X factor is in this, Brian. Something extra.